Okay, I'm just gonna... I don't know, people. It is January 1st of 2024. My landlady came, got her rent, and asked for more money. I said, well, you just raised the rent in the summertime. No, I didn't. I said, yeah, you did. I give her an extra $100, right? That's not even the legal rate of raising rent. It's above, far and wide and above. Well, not far, but... Oh, I let you stay. Oh, gaslighting me again. I let you stay. What have I done wrong? I gave up my life for you. I went blind because of this yard. With that whip on my back, people. I put the yard first so I wouldn't lose the house. And wouldn't make it to the eye doctor. In those days. Putting in fucking 10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week. 10 months out of the year. Oh, just whatever. I'm working on my playlists. I'll fucking work on my playlist over the next 6 months. People will go from year to year to year to year, and they will see that I am not lying. Oh, well, the yard's nothing. It's nothing. I said, full of weeds, mud, just whatever. It was just a means to use against me. It wasn't even my responsibility, people. But, whatever. And then I said, I let you stay. And I'm like, yeah, well, I've already paid your mortgage like 3 times over. You've owned this house since 1991 and you paid $175,000 for it. Because she keeps saying rents are expensive and I'm not paying enough. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's because you know there's corruption in the housing market. Right? You know it. I said, that's your income. Exploiting families, basically. Right? That's how you build your brand new monster home. You get tenants to move in. I didn't say you move in tenants. You met them fight inside the house because you don't fix things properly, or you whatever people, right? And you kick out the tenant for whatever fucking reason, or they leave because you don't fix nothing, or if you do, you don't fix it right, or you expect them to fix it, and they get fed up and they move out, and you use that as an opportunity to overinflate the fucking rent so that you can stack and pack that bag and go build yourself a brand new fucking monster home as families are being pushed out of their houses and elderly Caucasians are being medically kidnapped from their homes so you can go in and buy another fucking house and start the process all over again. I didn't go into that much detail with her, but she knows, people. That's the thing. She knows what she's doing, what her people, the Punjabis, are doing, the Sikhs. Not to mention the Hindus, the Chinese, whatever their fucking religion is, and these upper class, snotty fucking Muslims. Well, if they're so uppity up, why can't they go back to their own countries and help their own fucking country and do whatever it is that they do in their own country? Why do they have to come to another country and basically, I don't know, people. So, okay. Well, I don't want to talk about that. When I said, well, look, I've already paid your mortgage like 3 times over. Like, you only bought this house for $175,000 in 1991. She looked at me. I'm like, yeah, right? And you raised the rent like in the summertime. And you want now more? Well, the government gave you more money. I said, excuse me? How would you know that? No, it didn't. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. I said, oh, okay. So the government gives me more money to be able to keep up with the inflation, cost of food, whatever it is, right? even though I can't afford to go move anywhere, because the property owners have made sure of that. Okay? Right along with the federal government bringing in all these immigrants that are taking up the housing, because they're coming in with their federal, provincial, and municipal subsidies, with their kind working in the municipalities, so then when they get off the airplane or get off the fucking boat, they just plug into the municipality through City Hall, and those workers in City Hall are scouting out the neighborhood and taking up the housing for that Syrian family, for that Afghanistan family, for that fucking Ukrainian family, whatever family, Punjabi family. Well, it's more like the UN soldiers when it comes to the Punjabis, because they don't really bring in families. They like to bring in man after man after man after man and stack and pack them in the fucking houses before they tear them down, to build unaffordable, stack and pack, stupid looking, ugly buildings with plastic pipes and a playground on the roof. Yeah, okay. And then call that property development. Yeah, okay. Well, we know how I feel about that. That would be just the next generation of slums being managed by property owners who live in the monster houses, crying for more rent, as those people 10, 15, 20 years later are having to deal with bed bugs, cockroaches, mice, cupboard bugs, and a whole bunch of crazy people living on the property because everybody's so fucking frustrated. Yeah. But that's beside that point. Shut up. So I'm like, you just raised the rent last, like, in the summertime. Oh, well, I'm just asking. And I'm like, asking? Well, we know what that means. Well, I let you stay. What have I done wrong? You don't pay enough. Right? Go move somewhere else. You'll see how much you have to pay. Oh, so that makes it okay. When in fact, you're the ones, as property owners, overinflating the housing market so that you have an income to live on, so that you can build your monster houses, right? Accumulate even more property. As the cycle continues, where older properties don't get fixed because they're old and they're going to be demolished anyway, so there's no point in fixing anything. And if you do fix them, it's just a Band-Aid fucking solution with some gray tape over it, in terms of like quality work. Or if it does require a little more effort, you have to wait until it's completely fucking broken and you've been living with it broken for months, if not years, before it finally gets fixed. As you got the whip on your back because, any means, any way to get you out so they can raise the rent and then start the process all over again. And then we wonder why we have such a high number of homeless people right across Canada and right across the United States. Because it's the same kind of politics, right? That's it, people. So, I guess, can you, Andre? I don't want to have to compete with your mumbling. So, my son heard us talking, and he came out. And by this time, I'm like, I literally get ill, people. I get fucking ill. And like I'm being awashed. Because I just went through this over the summer, like doom and gloom. Rent every month, when rent comes, it's like doom and fucking gloom. I just never know. How many times have I said that in my videos? I don't know when it's fucking coming. I told Andre, I don't feel very well. You go pay the rent when they come. Because I just don't know. Right? But she called and said, I'm here. And I'm like, okay, you can't run from your problems. Just calm down. Don't overreact. Go outside. I give her the rent. And then she dropped the bombshell on me. And I'm telling you, people, it's like ripping my fucking heart out. It's like ripping my fucking heart out. Because not only do I got that, because it never ends. I got my son fucking ragging on me about to get rid of my stuff because I want more space because I want to have kids. Okay. You're going to have kids downstairs. Oh, good luck. And if you're going to have kids, why is it my responsibility to fucking house you so that you can have quote-unquote cheap rent as the landlady is holding that over my head fucking month after year after or whatever it is? It's like being on death row. I feel like I'm on fucking death row. Yeah. And I gotta stay for now. Is that what it's called? I gotta stay. So anyway, my son agreed to give her an extra $50 a month on top of what he's already paying. He asked her if that was okay. She said, well, whatever you think, because she knows what she's doing is fucking wrong. You see, that's the thing. She knows it. But she gaslights me. I let you stay. We let you stay. Okay, yeah, you let me stay. That's why you want $3 million for this house. You won't settle for $2.5 million. No. You'll hold on until you can get your $3 million. I don't know where you're taking it with when you're fucking... Oh, yeah, right, you got grandkids. You got grandkids. I have grandkids that are going to be targeted for their body parts. That's the two-tiered system we have here. And not only are they going to be targeted, that's a proven fact here, okay? But they're going to be paid. They're going to be paying to play. You pay to play. Like me. Pay to play. To be on death row. Beg for a stay so that you don't get executed right away on your due date of being snuffed out. Basically. And I'm already thinking about moving out. 12 to 24 months. I might not even make the 24 months, people. It might be longer than that, people, because there is no affordable housing, because these property owners and the government and the municipal, or whoever controls the housing market and launders money through the housing market. They don't want affordable housing. They want some families to prosper, other families no. So anyway, she said, yeah, but you know she wants from me because the government gave me more money. And I said, yeah, okay, so the government gives me more money. How do you know that? Oh, I know. I said, okay, so if they give me more money so I can keep up with the cost of living, but you expect me just to give it to you? As soon as I get more money, and that's what they do. They know the politics within the government. So if the federal government gives you another, say, $150 on your baby bonus, your child tax benefit, right? If they give you $150, the landlords want more money. That's it. As fast as the government's giving you money as a poor person, the landlords are taking it right back. And it's been like that for years. This is the first time I've called her on it, though. Right? Oh, so the government gives me more money, so therefore I should just give it to you. Well, rent everywhere is expensive, and water and taxes. Well, the water was included with the taxes, but what she did 4 or 5 years ago is she put in a water meter to separate it from her taxes so that if she was successful at kicking me out, the next tenants would have moved in and they would have made them responsible to pay the water bill so that her taxes would be lower. But because I moved in without paying a water bill, I'm not responsible to pay for that water bill because it was in with the taxes. She chose to separate the two, saying that she was going to save on her taxes by separating it, right? No, That's not what she was doing. She was setting the stage to make it look like she had an extra expense where it was already covered through her taxes to at some point get rid of me so that the next tenant moved in. They'd say, well, this is the terms, rent and water. Take it or leave it. We'll never raise the rent. Stay as long as you want. And they'll be desperate and they'll take it. And then after a few years, they'll find that what happened to me, things won't get fixed, and if they do, it'll take forever to get it done. In the meantime, everybody's fighting in the fucking house because, you know, some of this shit was major and it took a very long time to fucking fix it. And even then, it wasn't fixed right and it had to be done over and over again, depending on who the hell was fixing it. Like, I'm having a nervous breakdown. That's why I get sick every month right before rent. Because I just don't know when I'm going to be punched out. Because whatever I give her will never be enough. Because it's not the equivalent of what the housing market is at right now. In terms of the gluttony and the greed of the collective, with the protection and condolence of a government that uses that income that's generated from that corruption to prop up their fiscal budget so that they can pay their public union sector employees all their benefits and wages, life insurance policies, pension plans, and perks. Because you know they're getting paid first before anything and anybody else. And then along comes the Eleanor Gildings and just steal from this, steal from that one, in terms of like the elderly that are losing their houses. And, you know, they have the superannuation life insurance policy. They have the government pension plan. They have the property and whatever. But as soon as they, you know, break their ankle or stub their toe and end up at the Surrey Memorial Hospital or some other hospital in British Columbia, Canada, they're hooped. They're getting medically kidnapped, told that they're bonkers. They need to sell their assets. They need to sell their houses because now somebody's taken over their life and they're going to put them in an old folks home and make them pay $2,000, $2,500 a month for long-term care as their assets are being robbed. Which gives my landlady an opportunity to buy another house on the cheap. And like, I don't get it. She's 83 years old. And it's like, I don't know, people. So anyway, she left. My son said he was going to give her an extra 50, and I left what I had to say just hanging, because by that time I was shaking. I was fucking shaking, people. Because I felt it coming. I felt it fucking coming. And then to be told, well, I let you stay. We let you stay. Well, what have I done so wrong that I shouldn't have to be? Like, right? What have I done so... I gave up my fucking life for you. I don't know what part of that you don't fucking understand. Maybe it's too fucking close for you in terms of too close for fucking home. Right? She used to tell me, oh, you're such a nice person. I have never met anyone like you. Right? In terms of a nice person. Right? And I know why she said that. Because when she was younger, and she used to run around in the yard, especially up by the plum tree, and she wanted to climb. But she was elderly, right? She didn't want to be touched. She wanted to have her independence and climb the tree, right? Or whatever she was climbing on to get to the plums. And I'd like, and she'd know, and so I'd just stand there, like literally stand beside her, and I'd have my hands fucking ready to catch her And her weight would have fell on me, and I would have fell on whatever was around me, and I would have taken the brunt of the fall. I think that's why she said I was one of the nicest people that she's ever truly met, in terms of being genuine. But in the great grand scheme of things, when it comes to politics and accumulating mass wealth, it doesn't mean anything. No. I don't think so. Because for me, it's a sickness. So I'm shaking. And I'm like starting to cry, right? Eyes are clouding up. What's new? Hey, pussycat, right? And I'm like shaking. Because I felt it coming. I even told Andre, just take out the rent and go tell whoever's out there that I'm just not feeling very well. But I thought, I don't know, you gotta deal with your problems. If it's coming, it's coming. And sure enough, it fucking came. Which is a death sentence. Yeah. Only I got a little bit of a stay. And a $50 is not enough, even though she just got an extra 100 out of us in the summertime. Because she wants 45 at age 83. So she can leave it for her grandkids while mine are homeless. Yeah, basically. I don't get it. And then I told my son, after she left, right? He goes, Mom, you're shaking. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking shaking. I told you, I'm tired. I'm tired of this, people. Like, I'm so fucking tired with this. Like, you don't even know the trauma I went through with that whip on my back over stupid bullshit that was going on in the fucking yard. I'm gonna bring up my videos. I'm going to put them year to year to year, and if people want to take the time to go through year to year to year, they will see what I've been through. And I told him I had a dream. I had a nightmare with her one time. Now, I'd consider it to be a nightmare. I said, because she was on the mountain. I've mentioned this before on one of my videos. Standing at the top of the mountain, and I was climbing up the mountain, but I kept slipping down. I'd climb back up, and then I'd be hanging on the fucking mountain. She looking down at me, you know, and she expects me to climb up she expected me to climb up to the mountain, but she knew I wouldn't fucking make it because I kept falling down, and she just stood there and watched me. Because I could never be an equal to her. Never seen as an equal. Wouldn't be equal, wouldn't be treated fairly to be successful as an equal, because that's not what it's about. But then, I had a grandmother. You see, here's the issue. I told my son, this is where my brain gets confused. My grandmother, my landlady, reminds me of my grandmother, because they're similar in stature, similar in look, similar in age. But I can't see her as my grandmother. I don't expect her to be my grandmother. She's not obligated to be my grandmother, right? So, now I got my landlady wanting more rent, which means I'm going to have to cough up an extra $50. So she got an extra $100 out of us now for rent. So it'll go up to $21.50. But of course she won't be satisfied with that, because she knows she can get $4,500 or more based on the corruption in the province, which she is fully aware of. She knows. Maybe a few years back, she was unaware and was just caught up with it, but dealing with me and the way I talk to her as if she was an equal to me or a grandmother to me, Not that she's my grandmother, but with respect, that is, right? I try to be very respectful. That's another reason why she likes me. I've always been respectful to her, right? Until she puts my back in the corner. Like the last time she wanted to raise, well, first she came in and said she was giving me an eviction. That was in the summertime. And then she settled for more rent. An eviction for what? I don't know, but just like they say, will we let you stay? Yeah, okay, so you can kick me out and I can be, what? Lose my grandkids, become homeless, end up where? Where am I going? It's enough that I'm sitting here thinking about moving out with nowhere to go because of people like her and her morally righteous crowd. Because remember, she's high up on that mountain lording over me, right? She's better than me because she has wealth. Well, you bought the house in 1991 for $175,000, to which in those days was affordable with less hurdles to jump through compared to what people have to jump through today after 30 years, right? I've paid the mortgage 3 times over since I've been here. But that's business. As her son would say, get the fuck out. It's business. Get the fuck out. It's business. Okay. Business. And then we wonder why there's illegal organ harvesting happening in the province of British Columbia as the dirty cops, the coroner, hospital staff, government cover it up. One hand feeds the other. Kick out my family just opens up the Pandora box for the next victim. And you don't even have to kick them out. Right? You just have to terrorize them while they live there. I'm just saying. Sierra's dead. Jermaine's dead. Uncle John Mednick kidnapped, died an only man, right? Tortured, had his brain wiped, had his money stolen from him, had his grandkids stolen from him, and was locked away like a dirty secret. So yeah, I gotta stay on my death sentence. Basically a stay. Yeah. I'm up for execution, one way or another. I told my son before he, right? He says, well, you move, because I said, I'm getting so tired of this. Like, he said, well, I'll pay rent. I won't get Marina to pay. I said, no. I have to continue paying the rent because I'm the one with the relationship here with her, right? I've been dealing with her for almost 14 years. All right? It's just, it is what it is, but I'm like, I'm dying. I told my landlady, I'm dying. Like, I don't know what you think, but when you're like this and you're afraid to go pay your rent because you know you're going to end up like this because of money, knowing that no matter how hard you try, you're never going to have enough anyway. And you're slated for something else because the one looking down at you doesn't see you as an equal, doesn't treat you as an equal, has no respect for you ultimately at the end of the day because it's elevated. And she's standing on that mountain by herself. It's not like she was standing with God. She was just lording over me. Come on, get up, hurry up, climb. And I'm like, I'm trying, but I can't. It's impossible. And then I'd fall, and I'd be hanging on the fucking cliff of the mountain. And she's looking at me. If that's not a nightmare, I don't know what is. I told my son, I said, look, I don't even know if I'm going to make it 2 years from now. Because I said, now you know why. Another reason why I want to kind of move, because I can't take the stress of it anymore, people. They're only making me feel like I'm fucking a bad person. I've done bad things. Yeah, right. Born in this country, and I'm on a death watch. I'm slated for execution in my own fucking country. On multiple levels. With organized criminal groups that either call themselves religious or professional. I told my son, I said, now you know why I kind of want to move, because I can't take the stress. I'm shaking, right? And I'm trying to hold back the tears, right? He goes, yeah, I can clearly see that. Well, I'll pay rent next time. I said, no, you can't, because the relationship is with me. I have to deal with it. Right? At least at this point. But I told him, you know, I don't know how long this is going to last with my eyes. I'll be lucky to make it for 2 years. And then, you know, when that time comes, if I can't fucking see anymore, I told him, then you can take total control. He didn't like that. Because he tried to take over my life, right? I've discussed that already, right? So not only do I get it from my landlady, but I get it from my son. He didn't like that. He got, oh, and I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. And he stormed off. Because he didn't want to get into that discussion. Because he doesn't see it like that. Which makes me feel like I'm in a jail cell, in solitary confinement, waiting to be executed.
Granny's house. From SGTV.
And that's not exaggerating. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick little video here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm working on my playlist for 2020, because obviously we know YouTube staff, AI, and upper management of that corporation are on the attack with my channel by removing video after video after video with ambiguous accusations accusing me of causing arduous harm if my video remains on their YouTube channel because it doesn't align with their policies or with their employer, which is an outside corporate entity in a different country. All right. So let's just go to my playlist for a second here. Well, actually, I'm waiting for this to download. So I got a little bit of time here. So, playlist. First of all, I want you to see how many I have. That's a lot of playlists, people. Do you see? Now, some of them go back as far as since my channel started. And then, of course, I added more. Now I'm trying to organize certain categories, but I'm also going to go year by year as video is uploaded in real time. So when YouTube pulls out a page, right, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you watch my videos from video to video to video, and then all of a sudden there's a big blank there, because I'm numbering my videos as I'm doing this. Okay, you'll get number 25, and then you'll go to and you look for number 26, and it won't be there because YouTube deleted it. So it will just jump to number 27, because they want to break that train of thought as well as blah-de-da. But that's not why I turned this on. I'm just letting you know what I'm doing. So right now I'm just working with the year 2020, and I'm adding in a few here into who, how, and why Shimei died. Now with this one here, I went like, who? Well, the who is in, I'm going to have to redo this one, but right now I'm just adding in a few as I go, okay? Because in the very beginning of this, I was adding in videos where either you could see Shimei herself in the video, or you could hear her voice, because that's who she is, right? You either hear her or see her, right? And then, of course, how, in terms of, well, she died, and how, and then the why. Okay. So it's like a modge-podge of Shimei as a whole, although it's not consecutively in order, because I ended up just putting in the hows and the whys before I got to do all the whos. So I'm probably going to have to do this again. However, I'm going to add this one into, just hold on a minute. It's in the process of downloading. And as I'm going from each video, oh my lord, as I'm going through each video, oh, what's going on? Oh, just put done for now. As I'm going through each video, I'm numbering them. So when we get a video that's been removed, which YouTube has removed actually quite a few videos from 2020, and they keep doing it every 2 or 3 weeks, as we know, right? There's going to be a missing number. And then you'll either find that video up on BitChute as an exclusive, and I mean, obviously I wasn't doing this in the past so much, but I do have a lot of these videos, the majority, probably a good 95% of these videos on external hard drives. It's just a matter of finding them, because they ain't, and I didn't go in with a methodical method to log things, chronic, in a organized manner, where so I'm working on it. All right, so I'm waiting for this to download. Not happening yet. Some of these ones take quite a long time, because what they do is they convert them over to MP4s. They didn't go up as MP4s, but they're converting them down to MP4s, but they're zip files because they're very compressed. Because normally MP4 files are very large. See, where am I? Let's see. Notice of civil claim, rough draft. See, it's still downloading. But after it's done downloading, it comes in as a MP4. But I also have a lot of these on a different external hard drive that I can't get to right now. So I'm just, I don't know, working on it. Okay, so as I'm sitting here waiting for this thing to finish downloading, I read this. Okay, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I read this and I figured it out a long time ago what happened to Shimei, for the most part, people. Okay, and when you're right in the middle of figuring it out, and you're the mother fighting for justice, can't understand the corruption in the government with the public union sector and policing agents, coroner, all this. You just don't understand it. Outside of, they're a criminal organization that uses public tax dollars to facilitate heinous crimes against the general public, so that they can launder money through the underground economy after they snatch up on bodies and do what they do with them through illegal organ harvesting and da-de-da-da-da. Okay. You gotta have money and the workforce to be able to run a smooth system. And the facilities, like hospitals. You gotta be in control of those things. Everybody's gotta be on the same page within that group. Okay. Alright. Now I'm just going to read this without interrupting myself. And then I'm going to make comment on it, because after reading that, it made me think on a different... Okay, let me put it to you this way. I know Shimei was hit on the head. When I walked into that room, was talking to that nurse, blah, 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 I asked her to look for bruises on Shimei's body because I believed that she had been hit. They said, no, we didn't see no bruises, blah, blah, blah. Daughter did it to herself. She was a closet addict. And I'm like, no, that's not true. So, months go by, 6 months, it was about 6 months. And then Tisha's half-brother from her dad's side forwarded me some pictures that he took of Shimei. So that's how I got the pictures 6 months after she was dead. And you have to remember, everybody within the healthcare system was watching us like a fucking hawk. They had the nurses stationed with the curtains open, looking into the room with everybody in the room, because they didn't want us to catch on what was going on, right? So when people wanted to take pictures, they'd come running in saying, oh, no, you can't take pictures because Shimei wouldn't want to be remembered like that. So everybody backed off because, it's a nurse telling them they can't take pictures, and they're afraid to balk. And anyway, Tisha's brother took pictures on 2 different occasions. On the 16th, I think, and I'm pretty sure it was the 16th, Mark Hain took a little video on the 17th, and then Tisha's brother on the 19th took another picture. And between those 3 pictures, I came in 2020. That's how long it took me. Shimei died in 2018. And I have a string of videos where I took it to exposure, those pictures, zoomed in, took it to exposure, ran different exposures through it to pick up different things that you wouldn't normally see. Only exposure can see it because of the density of the coloring through the exposure. That's how I discovered that Shimei had a big-ass freaking bruise on the right side of her head at the very top through exposure. So she had a bruise, people. Okay? But of course we know the cops covered it up, the coroner covered it up, right? The hospital staff covered it up, and the government's trying to cover it up because Shimei's organs were illegally harvested. All right. Now, before she went to the hospital, though, she didn't went to the hospital. Before they put her body into a hammock, okay, so that we couldn't see the perfusion machine that they hooked up to her because they needed to hide that to prep her for surgery after 6 o'clock. Get everybody in, get them prepped, get them ready, so that the organs would be taken out after, they're being flushed out in the body through the perfusion machine, so that when they take them out, they're already flushed out, so they can pretty much go from body to body. That's the whole purpose of a perfusion machine. Perfusion machine, it prepares the body, it prepares the organs that it's flushing out for surgery. Versus taking the organs out, running them through water and cleaning out, and then putting them on ice and putting them in a little, what is that called? Lunch kit, ice with ice in it, and then, jumping on an airplane and traveling and taking it to wherever. No, whoever got those organs came to the hospital, got prepped, and then waited for those organs to be taken out. And they couldn't do that until after 6 o'clock, because by 6 o'clock, with her laying on that bed in the emergency ward, that gave them enough time to do what they needed to do as they were doing whatever they were doing. And of course, nobody knows. They just all freaked out. Tisha, whatever. Julian was there, but that was just for show, right? And then by 9 o'clock, I'm telling you people, she was embalmed. She was embalmed. So, okay. So I can confirm and I can prove that she had a bruise on her head. A big one at that. Alright? But before they took her out of the house, when the cops were called and they showed up in the ambulance, whatever, Shimei was laying on the bed, on the couch, on the futon, because Julian moved her body. He admitted it to the cops. He told the cops that he noticed that she peed, sitting up, and that's why he laid her down. Okay. I know, whatever. After it was all said and done, I went back. I took pictures of the futon where she sat. Not only did she pee, but she also defecated. Alright. So, I'm dealing with other things. It's April of 2018. Now we're in 2020, and, I'm asking questions as I'm piecing the puzzles together, right? And this was an answer from a question, right? To Holston, former forensic pathologist, because you're not going to get honest answers in British Columbia, Canada. I can tell you that right now. And then the answer, or maybe I read it, because if you notice the answer was October 15th of 2011. So I was reading, I was learning as much as I could learn about how the dead body reacts after death, or right before death, right? You learn about the death rattle, and da-dee-dee-da. Okay, so here's the answer. Great answer so far. Here's the question. This is the question. Does everyone soil themselves at death? Right? Because usually what happens, well, not usually, but it does, yes, I don't know. What we're under, most people are under the impression that, when you die, you defecate and you urinate. And that's because, and also too, your jaw drops. It's another reason how I know Shimei was dead on the couch, because her jaw just kept dropping as the bubbles were coming out as I was doing CPR on her. Alright, I'd breathe air into her, and then the air would just out as her jaw dropped, because she was dead, right? I did that a few times, and then of course, Tisha's on 911 saying whatever, and they're telling now Tisha to tell me not to do CPR. You have to ask yourself that question, why? Why don't they want you doing CPR? Do you think it's because they don't want to destroy the lungs before surgery? No, just a question. Okay. So, does everyone soil themselves at death? Answer. Great answers so far. Indeed, defecation tends only to occur in circumstances where fear people. This is why I'm doing this video. Okay, Shimei was a sitting duck. She couldn't do anything to fight back. And I know he hit her on the head because I can prove the bruise is there. No matter what the healthcare staff have to say. I can prove it. And she probably was fearful, because I have the video, I have the pictures, not the video, I have the pictures of the futon where she sat, where it shows that she defecated and urinated. Well, the cops ignored it. Literally, they ignored it. When the investigating team came back 3 fucking weeks later after I fought to get them to come there, fought, you need to investigate, they showed up, right? And the futon, I showed them the futon, and they blew it off like it was nothing, because they never had no intentions to investigate people. They were covering it up. Fear. If you get hit on the head, you're feeling fucking woozy because you had a smoke that was laced with fentanyl, and then somebody comes and hits you on the fucking head and looks you straight in the fucking eye as they start shooting you up with a cocktail of cocaine and morphine to cover the fact that you were murdered, so that the dope dealer knows that the cops will just blame the victim and let the fucking dope dealer walk, the abusive fucking freak. Anyway, I'm just saying, circumstances where fear is intense. Damn right. You know, he would want her to know that she was gonna be dead because he was threatening her. She told me, she came upstairs, Mom, if something happens to me, it's because of Julian. I said, Sinead, don't let him back in the house. Fuck, stay away from him. But he used the baby as the excuse, and then when it wasn't that, it was, my mom's house got robbed and I got no place to go, I need to hide out and sleep. No, he came back to finish the fucking job. He hit her on the fucking head. He already knew she was feeling sick with the fucking medical fentanyl that had been laced by somebody, more than likely his sister, because Julian wasn't even around to lace the cigarettes, unless of course it was their mother. There's only 3 people that could have done that, people. And Julian was avoiding Sinead because Sinead wanted him to sign the paperwork to put her name back onto the birth certificate. Those people fucking tricked her and made it so that only Johnson was on the birth certificate. And Sinead was starting to threaten to take him to court to make the judge put her name on the birth certificate. So he was avoiding her. That's why he didn't take her to freaking Julian's mother's house, because Julian's mother wanted to see the baby, and Sinead ended up going by herself. And that's exactly where her smokes got freaking laced. They left it for a couple of days, let it fucking kick in, and then he showed up with some sorry-ass excuse. He hit her on the fucking head. I can prove it. And it was so intense with fear, she urinated and she defecated, people. Now, at the time when I read this, it didn't dawn on me, but it's dawning on me now. Because I can feel the intensity around what happened to my daughter. But then, when I arrive as a pathologist and see the evidence, it's hard to say if it was peri or post-mortem. And I think what he's saying is, it's like the jaw. When a person dies, the jaw just drops. That's why they have to suture the jaw together when they embalm a body. Otherwise, the jaw drops and it won't go back. I can prove that Sinead has sutures in her mouth with no teeth. As my government tries to cover it up. With YouTube coming in, taking 3 videos back to back off every 2 or 3 weeks with ambiguous accusations saying that I'm the one that's trying to harm the community, which is a bunch of crock. Okay? So, just like the jaw drops, so does your ability to hold your urine or poo. Feces, I guess you could say, right? Those ligaments or whatever that keeps it like that until you're ready to go on the toilet, unless, of course, you're at a point where you just can't anymore because you're so full and it will come out on its own. If you ever had a ultrasound with a full bladder, you would know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. As soon as you're dead, that's no longer in existence. Those things that hold the urine in releases just like the jaw drops. So it really would depend on how much urine would be in your body, and that's why I think we're getting this. But at the end of the day, Sinead did both, and it was a large spot, to which probably has something to do with fear, because she was hit on the head. That just confirms to me more what I already know. As for urination, you tend to get spots. Sinead didn't have spots. Okay, even he admitted to the police that she urinated and he moved her off the big wet spot. She released all her pee because he was fucking terrorizing her before he fucking shot her up with that cocktail of cocaine and morphine, knowing that once she got in to the coroner's office and they did their blood tests, they would accuse her of doing it to herself, because that's the fucking game out on the stupid streets. And that's why these drug dealers and these murderers never get fucking put in jail, people. Because they bring in the bodies. Get spots. No, whatever she had in her, a large majority of it went out onto the freaking futon. Then they tried to say at the hospital that they got urine from her. Perhaps they got a little bit from her, because it doesn't necessarily all drain out. But what was on that freaking futon was a fair fucking amount, which tells me she was under fear, instead of full bladder release. However, if you're under intense fear, you're going to release it. The only place where I expect to see the full show on stage is at RTC, road traffic collision, blunt force, right? Where you have massive deceleration and large blunt force trauma. Boom! On the head. What do you think the body's gonna do in terms of reacting around that right before you fucking die? Or you're in the process of dying with the death rattle. Okay, and then I provide the link. I don't know if it's still active anymore. Who knows in this day and age? And then we've got another answer, July 28th, 2017, from a different pathologist. My experience is this: it depends, but eventually, yes, our bodies dispel all eventually. Why? Because whatever's there to hold up the jaw in terms of muscles and brain signals and just how our bodies work, it's dead, because the brain's dead, it's not working, so that part just doesn't work anymore. Just like whatever holds up urine in your bladder before you get to the toilet, it's the same thing. Once you're dead, it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, it all eventually all comes out. And it came out of Shimei. It sure did. Oh, finally that video download. Okay. Where was I? Right here. Okay, my experience is this: it depends, but eventually, yes, our bodies dispel all eventually. What makes some soil themselves is trauma at death, and that's exactly what happened to Shimei, people. I'm telling you, not only did she have a big ass bruise on her head that everybody covered up, but the circumference of the urine was quite large, right along with the stains of poo, right, feces. And we know he changed her shirt because she was already starting to foam at the mouth after an hour of laying on the couch. He moved her body at 9:10 when Tisha was switching over laundry. Okay. I mean, timeline's already been established. So he changed her pants, and he also changed her shirt. But he did let the cops know, because Tisha heard it, I heard it, that he'd moved her body. And then he tried to change the story after he already said it. And even the cops said it. Right? They started twisting things around. Yeah. Yeah, he moved her body. Damn right he moved her body. He was the one who pulled up her shirt. Yeah, and he cleaned her up before he called Tisha, in terms of that foam and the bubbles coming out of her nose and out of her mouth. And by the time I got to her, within a minute from being called, that foam was pouring out of her mouth. But I just went into CPR mode. And then they didn't want that, though, right? Yeah. Because they wanted to keep the lungs fucking fresh. Who knows? Anyway. Yeah, and as I was breathing into her mouth, the air would just come out. jaw drop. I'd hold her mouth, breathe in, and then you could hear it with the bubbles coming out. Like getting hit by a car or by a human being. I have been beaten until I urinated and defecated myself. Shimei was hit hard. The bruise on her head is quite large. But embalming makeup, any kind of makeup would cover it, right? But not exposure, because you're looking at density, and with density comes different colors, which brought out the bruise. I was almost beaten to death, so yeah, it happens. I've seen people dead of overdose and no soiling, but not Shimei. She was sitting in a big pile of it. So much so that Julian felt he had to move her and lay her down and pull up her shirt and say, "Look how I found her." And then, oops, change the subject. She was sitting in pee and, yeah. Peaceful, no trauma, no poop. Gunshots, car, accidents, etc. all can cause BC of shock and trauma to body. I guess that's the defecation and the urination of the, whatever's, because, and that makes sense. I am not medical or soldier. I am ex-con who had, this is somebody else maybe, I don't know. I am not medical or soldier. I am ex-con who had a effed up life. I wish I didn't even know the answer to these types of questions, but I hope it brings you some comfort knowing you won't have poopy pants when dead. But who cares? You won't. GAF, I promise. I don't know what GAF means. But that's obviously a different somebody else answering, I think. Just wanted to point that out, people. I mean, like, what kind of society do we live in where people of authority condone murder and conspire to cover it up for profit and human trafficking? This one right here, Tasty Bonnie, got that right at Tasty Bonnie. Look how many views it got now. 29. They had it sitting at 33 for a couple of days, and they just dropped it down. That's what I'm saying. The video itself is only 1 minute and 21 seconds. Yeah, okay.